Good afternoon. I'm John Hartsough, and we have a guest today, Brenda Diaz de Leon. But the title of this presentation is A Living Witness to DACA, and Brenda is the living witness to that program. But it just so happens that today is the very first day of Hispanic Heritage Month. It is from September 15th to October 15th. You can learn more about it if you go to the website of Hispanic Heritage Month. But basically what it does is recognize the achievements, contributions, and influence of Hispanic people in the history, economics, and culture of the United States. That prompted some thoughts in my mind. I think it was probably in elementary school about 60-some years ago that I was told that the United States was a melting pot. I doubt that I understood just what was meant back then, nor am I sure today. However, today I think it is a recognition that the United States, except, of course, for the original Native American peoples, is a nation of immigrants. I think, though, there is an implication in the phrase that somehow all new immigrants are all mixed up with all the past immigrants. Then, with enough stirring of the pot, everyone looks and acts the same. It seems to me the melting pot image consists to some degree of the expectation that immigrants are to minimize their own cultural origins and somehow become American, whatever that may mean. I would like to set aside the melting pot image and create a mosaic image of the United States. Looking closely at a mosaic piece of art, there is visible, individual, and unique blocks of tile of all different shapes, colors, and textures. Then, in stepping back for a distant view, the beauty of the entire piece of work becomes visible and comprehensible, but without any of the individual tiles being changed or giving up their uniqueness. It is the mosaic image of the United States that events like Hispanic Heritage Month helps our nation focus on the value and beauty of all the pieces of the mosaic. However, now and in the past, the nation has struggled searching for fair and equitable immigration laws which value the humanity of each piece of our mosaic. Today we want to focus on DACA. That is the policy of deferred action for childhood arrivals. DACA was created as an executive order in 2012, recognizing that many parents have entered the United States without proper documentation, which also identifies their children as undocumented, potentially subject to the same legal consequences as adults. Before 2012, there had been quite a number of attempts by some members of Congress to protect these innocent children from the legal consequences of their documentation status over which they had no control. One title, for example, of attempted legislation was called the DREAM Act. DACA provides protection for these children from deportation and provides identification similar to a Social Security number, which provides a number of the same benefits that citizens of the United States expect. There's a little bit of history to this executive order that I'll share briefly. In 2017, then President Trump suspended application for new applicants. The required reapplication every 2 years continued for existing DACA recipients, which consists of around 616,000 young people. In June 2020, the Supreme Court heard a lawsuit against the Trump suspension and said Trump had not given adequate justification for ending the program and dismissed the case. In January 2021, Biden reinstated new applications. In July 2021, just recently, Texas and 8 other states created a lawsuit to stop new applications, saying it was unconstitutional. At this point, Department of Homeland Security has been instructed not to extend new applications, but new applications can be continued. President Biden will likely appeal the case. But what this whole history does for young people, innocent children, is they put them in legal limbo, not knowing what's going on from one moment to the next. It is a privilege to have a DACA recipient here today, whom some of you will know since she works here at Timbercrest. Brenda Diaz de Leon will tell her story of her experience as a DACA recipient. Brenda and I have known each other for at least 16 years. The friendship of Brenda and her family is and has been an exceedingly bright spot in my world for these 16 years. So Brenda, I know people will be very interested in hearing your story as a DACA recipient.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Brenda Diaz. I first got DACA when I was about 15 years old. With DACA, I was able to go to Heartland in Wabash. I was able to get my CNA license. Thankfully to DACA, I am able to work legally here at Timbercrest. With DACA, I was able to get a social security number, a work permit, and a state ID. DACA has helped me a lot. Yes, unfortunately there is, like my sister, she should be a DACA student as well, but like John said, they are not accepting new applicants. She has not been accepted yet, so for her, unfortunately, she's not able to get the same treatment as I am, and it's pretty sad to her age not be able to drive or to find a job legally, but I'm very thankful for DACA. It has opened a lot of doors for me. I am currently going to college. Thank you to DACA, and yes, I don't know what else to say. That's it. Thank you.
We don't know how to entertain questions. I was thinking it would be there might be a lot of questions, but we do have a couple of people here, and so if you have questions, please feel free to ask Brenda.
Brenda, how old are you, and at what age did you come here with your parents and what country?
I am 21 years old. I came here when I was roughly 3 years old, so I've been here for most of my life.
How long have you worked in healthcare at Timbercrest?
I've been here for roughly 2 years now.
How old is your sister?
My sister just turned 18.
I might add something here that DACA applications required that the person be within certain ages, that they have lived at the same location for so many years, and so somebody like me can document that her family lived for the number of years required. And I'm not remembering now just what other requirements there are, but that's why, for example, when Brenda was able to get her DACA situation, her sister was too young to fit the criteria. I might add another thing that most of the people that I know, Brenda's parents included, those people don't just someday decide that they're coming to the United States. They actually knew there were jobs here. They weren't just going to meander around the country. They came directly to a job, and they have literally been employed in those jobs for 15, 20, and 25 years. Well, yeah.
In this community, what are the jobs
speak to that? Okay. Most of the people I know, because my job was related to the agricultural livestock industry, probably the largest employer here in town is Midwest Poultry. Wherever there's livestock, there is a need for daily observation and things for people to be involved. It's not like grain farming where you can just get a bigger, wider piece of machinery and get the work done. Livestock take attention. So my connections have been through the dairy industry. There's a number of people working in the dairy industry and the swine industry. But that would be most of the jobs that I can think of. But add anything you want, Brenda.
I think that's the Midwest Poultry.
And the reason that we have the Hispanic immigrant community, most of them are Hispanic. There's a few from, well, yeah, from other countries, but most of them are Latin American origin. We have this concentrated animal agriculture in the area, and that's what has brought them here. There are some jobs in Goshen that aren't necessarily agriculturally related, a food supply company, for example. Even many years before people were coming to North Manchester, Akron was a large center because of Pike Lumber Company. They have been employers of immigrant people. So again, I emphasize the mosaic idea. Part of my joy of knowing Brenda's family is to have participated in some Spanish masses and to have participated in some of their cultural fiestas and celebrations. I don't know if we've filled enough of the time for this, but this is about what we have